I would love, it's a Friday afternoon, it's beautiful here in the great, and my goal, my vision is to really share a process that will help you eliminate some anxiety and really experience the beauty of the world and get you into action. So to get started, hey Lauren, my love, to get started, we're going to take a couple deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, really imagine releasing anything from the past, anything from the future, and really getting very present. And one of my favorite ways to do that is to feel your breath. So just notice as you breathe in and out, how you feel your breath going in and out. We breathe all the time during the day, and rarely do we actually notice how it feels. All right, so once you feel a little more grounded, more present, I'm going to start with the first of 5 steps that will help you go from anxiety to action. So step 1 is feel your feelings. Now, very often when anxiety comes up or stress, frustration, other kind of negative feelings, fear, we want to brush right through them. We don't want to take time to really experience them and feel them. And so the first important thing is to really pause and go deep. So what do I mean by go deep? Very often our first feeling is just that, it's the layer, it's the surface, and we want to go below. So when I experience anxiety, so this morning, for example, I woke up feeling a little anxious, and I knew it was anxious because of this. But I really even then wanted to go deeper. So what am I anxious about? I'm anxious that no one will come. Or I'm anxious that I'll forget what I want to say. When I dig below that first broad brush of anxiety to what's beneath it, then I can start getting myself towards that final step of action. Very often we have these broad feelings like fear or anxiety or frustration, and we don't pause to really look at them more deeply and see what's going on. So the first step is to feel your feelings. And I'd like to welcome you right now to just pause and go within and feel what's going on inside of you. Maybe you're excited about the weekend. Maybe you're nervous about the weekend. Maybe the weekend is no different from the week since we've been in quarantine. But take a few minutes and just notice, how are you feeling? And I would love to get comments. So if you have any feedback, just write how you're feeling in the comments. And again, try and go below the surface. So there's what you're feeling, and then there's what's underneath it. So if you have some other feelings underneath, great. It's very important that we be kind to ourselves and not be in judgment of our feelings. So if you're anxious about money, lots of people have money anxiety these days. Even then, it's like, well, what's beneath that? Am I afraid I'll lose my house? Am I anxious that there isn't enough out there? When we dig a little deeper, it brings up a lot of sometimes anxiety or different feelings. And very often our ego wants us to feel safe. And so because our ego wants us to play safe, it's like, hey, let's go into distraction. There are many things that we do to not feel our feelings, like play video games or just be busy all the time, or drink or gamble or do drugs. A lot of those addictions are ways to not feel our feelings. And so I realize when I ask you to actually pause and feel them, for some of you that might be uncomfortable, but I welcome you to do it anyway. So once you felt your feelings, and again, not just the first one, not just I'm anxious or I'm afraid, but going beneath it to kind of peel back the layers. And there's probably many layers. Mostly there are if you peel them back a little bit, but do what you can. The beautiful thing is, in this process, I don't want you to stay in those challenging feelings. I do want you to feel them, but I want you to feel them because then you can shift them. One of my favorite sayings is, you can't heal it if you don't feel it. You can't heal it if you don't feel it. So unless you're willing to go with your feelings, you won't be able to shift them. So that's why that first step is so important. So once you have given yourself that time to feel your feelings, even the uncomfortable ones, we now want to go into the second step, which is shifting your feelings. So there are many, many beautiful and amazing ways to shift your feelings. For some of you, probably doing physical movement is a great way to shift your feelings. You may want to dance or run or walk or just move your body or yoga, right? Many great ways to shift your feelings through getting active. For some people, art or music, very often a new song can help you shift your feelings. Nature, being out in nature or even just having some beautiful flowers can really help you shift your feelings. For many people, going inside is actually very helpful. So whether it's meditating, chanting, praying, all of those things that connect us to our true divine nature. They get us out of the swirl of our day-to-day life and into connecting to something greater than ourselves. That's such a powerful way to shift your feelings. The way that I want to focus on right now is to shift them in your energy, because not everybody knows how to do that. And there's many simple techniques for helping shift your feelings in the energetics. So take a moment right now and just picture that you are feeling your feelings, those feelings that we just brought up in that first thing. And I want you to notice, where in your body do you tend to feel it? So take a moment, tap into your body. And I would love it if you want to write in comments where in your body you tend to feel certain feelings, like the anxiety or the fear or whatever came up for you. So for example, I often feel it in my stomach, but you might feel it in your chest. You might feel it in your throat, right? There's many places that you might feel in your head or in your feet. Maybe you feel ungrounded, like you're all floaty, or maybe you feel a tightness. Those feelings show up in our bodies. And so it's great to notice where in your body you feel things. So the exercise that we're going to do now is to actually take things from your body and release them. So go to whatever part of your body you start to feel things. And like for me, it was my stomach. I'm going to go to my stomach. I'm going to imagine that I'm holding a ball of energy. I'm scooping. Imagine that your hands are like magnets and those feelings are iron, and it's going to attract. So great. Yeah. Someone said, I feel it in my chest. Really common. Our hearts can be hurting. So again, feel free to write in comments, like, where are you feeling things? And then take that time to actually use your hands like a magnet and imagine pulling out those feelings. And you can send them and release them. Pull them out, send them and release them. You may need to do this multiple times. One of the techniques that I've been trained in is called the emotion code. And in the emotion code, there's a process we use to identify feelings. And what we found is that when you bring things, when you really feel them and then bring them to the surface, they're often easy to release. It's the ones that are buried deep inside that we don't identify that really causes trouble. And so really take the time now to just imagine releasing those feelings. And then we want to fill that space. So after you've shifted those feelings, release them away, we want to fill them with beautiful light. So there may be a color of light that you just feel attracted to right now, maybe a pink or a green or blue or purple, or a pure white light. Whatever you want, take a few deep breaths. Let it go right into that part of your body that you just released. And if you bring in light, so someone asked, can I show the movement a little higher? I certainly can. So actually I'll do my throat, okay? So imagine that my hands are magnets and I've got like some stuck energy in my throat. I am going to pull it out of my throat and release it. And pull, I actually do often get stuck energy in my throat. That's not so uncommon for me. But you can take a moment and imagine that whatever that stuck energy is, whatever those feelings are, like if you're feeling like I can't speak my truth, I'm really choked up about this, or I don't know what to say, I'm like, oh, deep breath, take the time, pull it away, and release. Now I have with me, I always like to have, you don't have to, I have a candle with me, because I like to kind of clean the energy off. So that's one of the things I tend to do. When I pull energy out, I want to release it, and I often send it to the candle. Some people send it to God or the divine or whatever you believe. You can just send it to the light. You can just release it, and then bring in beautiful divine light. So again, I'll stick with my throat because that's higher up. Then I just imagine. So the color, of course I'm wearing blue today, but the color of the throat, if you know the chakras, is blue. So I'm going to imagine this beautiful blue light going right into my throat and just bathing my throat with amazing light. So I'm pulling it out, I'm letting it go, and now I'm bringing in beautiful light. All right, so the first step was to feel your feelings. Really let yourself take the time, sink in. If you feel anxiety, which again, many people do right now, and for all kinds of reasons, some of them valid, some of them just in our minds, but we want to take the time to let ourselves own that, and then we go into shifting it. So again, whether you shift it with your body through movement, through meditation, through energy release, any of those or many other things will do to help shift your feelings. All right, so that was step 2. Step 3, and if you just do those 2 things, if you just feel your feelings and release them, that will be powerful. But step 3 is super important too. Step 3 is gratitude. Now, you may know that different feelings, even if you don't know these words, this language, different feelings have different vibrations. So I want you to picture you go into a room, it just doesn't feel good. Or maybe you're around someone who's complaining all the time, and every time you're around them, you just feel your energy drop. Many of you have that experience where you either in a room or around certain people, you just feel things get kind of sticky and icky and low. In the language that I use around healing work, I talk about it as a vibration, and that lower vibrations don't feel very good. And that's the issue, is anxiety and fear and anger. Those are all lower vibration feelings. So they don't feel good. They feel heavy and dense in our bodies, and they tend to bring us down. There are many higher vibration feelings too. Love, joy, just appreciation of beauty, and gratitude. Gratitude is a very high vibration. And you can feel it, right? When you're in the flow of gratitude, don't you feel better? Isn't that a much better feeling? So when you're in a place of gratitude, when you're in the flow of love, when you're in this place of beauty, then we feel better. So take a few moments now and be in gratitude. Now, of course, these days, anyone who's healthy, and I hope and pray that all of you who are watching this are healthy, but anyone who's healthy, we can just be so grateful for our health, because that is a blessing that can't even be measured. And we also get to be grateful for other things, because no matter how much or little you have, there is always something that we can enjoy. Maybe it's being grateful. I'm certainly grateful for the sunshine. You can be grateful for the family that's home, or grateful that their family isn't home. Sometimes we're grateful for that too. I'm grateful that I have a space in my house where I can do something like a Facebook Live and not be interrupted. I am really super grateful for that, because some people don't have that. Some people have very small places to live. So there are always things big and small that we can be grateful for. And when we go into gratitude, it helps lift our vibration and helps give us perspective. So And I actually learned something recently, which was great around gratitude, which is not just to be grateful, but to say why. So, like, I'm grateful for having this space. Why? Because it gives me a quiet meditative place where I can really connect to the divine. It gives me a place where I can do my work and really be able to concentrate. So there's so many things that I'm so grateful for. And when we add the why, it just really enhances it, right? It really ratchets it up. So instead of just like a list of by rote, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for food, it's like, well, why? And when we go into why, we can really bring our passion around it. So take a moment, and I'd love it if you wanted to type in comments something that you are grateful for. So as you're doing that, again, step 1, feel your feelings. Let yourself own them. Step 2 is shift your feelings. Find something that helps you shift them. Meditate, move, music, whatever it is. 3, one of the techniques for shifting is being in gratitude. And that really deserves its own call out. So be in gratitude. Find something that you're grateful for. Step 4, ready for step 4? Step 4 is to set your intention. All right. So what we've done so far is we've talked about what was. So we feel our feelings about what's happened in the past, and we've shifted those feelings, and we've been in gratitude, and now we're going into forward looking. What's my intention? What do I want to create? This one is really wonderful because very often we don't think about our intentions, but they're so powerful. So if you set an intention to feel joy, if you set an intention to, so I was practicing this with my husband this morning, and he set his intention to feel confident, right? So that whatever happens, the thing about intentions is they are not dependent on circumstances. So a circumstance means I can only be joyful if X, Y, or Z happens. If we're not quarantined anymore, if the coronavirus is cured, if my kids actually rake the leaves, right? If I'm dependent on circumstances, I'm not really in true intention. Intention happens and can happen regardless of circumstances. So I set my intention today to have fun. So I'm going to give you an example. And again, I would welcome you to really take the time to think about what is your intention? What would you like to create? So one of my favorite examples is doing the dishes. In my house, and I'm guessing in many of your houses, there always seem to be dishes. I do them, and yet somehow they multiply all on their own. I don't know how this happens. And particularly with everybody home now, there are just always a lot of dishes. So I have a choice to make. I'm looking at the sink. Well, my intention is to have fun. So maybe I decide, you know what? I'm going to turn on the music. I'm going to say, hey, Alexa, and I'm going to turn on some music, and I'm going to dance while I'm doing the dishes. So I'm going to make that process fun. Or I'm going to engage my family in making it fun. That is a real stretch. Or I'm going to complain about the dishes, right? If I complain about the dishes, what happens to my intention? I've let circumstances take over. If I complain about the dishes, now how do I feel? My energy and my vibration have dropped. So I'm setting my intention to have fun and joy no matter what is happening. And that includes the dishes. So I welcome you to set your intention. What's your intention? Maybe for the rest of the day, for the weekend. Really think about what is it that you want to create regardless of what happens around you. So take a moment and think about what is important to you. All right, so now we have done 4 of the steps of shifting from anxiety to action. So the first step, feel your feelings, go deep. Don't go superficial, go through the layers. Let yourself own them and be super kind to yourself while you're doing this. Don't let the ego stop you because it wants to keep you safe. Let yourself have your feelings. Number 2, Shift your feelings. Once you truly own them, you don't have to keep them. You get to release them. And, I was showing you an energetic technique for releasing them, which I find super easy and very powerful. And it's always available to you no matter where you are. So really look at what can you do to shift your feelings. Music, movement, meditation, and energy release. Many possibilities, right? We talked about gratitude and the importance of aligning to that higher vibration, being in love and gratitude. And now we just talked about setting your intention and the importance of making a decision about your ways of being. How do you want to show up? How do you want to experience your day, regardless of what happens? All right, last but not least, as you could probably guess from the title of Anxiety to Action, guess what the last step is? That's right, it is taking committed action. So what does that mean to take committed action? It means that very often when we feel anxiety, we feel stuck, we feel paralyzed. I'll give you an example. My daughter is a freshman in college, and of course she's home now, and she has about 2 more weeks of school and a lot of work to do. She gets so overwhelmed by all the work that she often, instead of feeling the feelings and moving on and doing this process, even though I try to teach it, she does other things. She avoids. And many of us do that. When we feel a lot of anxiety, we avoid doing things. I had a coaching client recently who would talk about how grimy her apartment is, and she's living by herself, and she's like, I haven't changed the sheets in 2 months. And so part of what I coach her on was like, just right now, go put your sheets in the wash, right? Because taking committed action, even a small thing, helps us feel better. When we have things on our to-do list that we've been avoiding, it's very draining. So think about, you set your intention for what you want to experience. What would be some action that you could take? Even 5 minutes of action that would help you actually feel better. So today, I bought plants like a week ago. They've been sitting there waiting to be planted. So I was like, okay, today's my day. I've been not getting around to it, and I just felt so much better once the plants were in the ground, right? So it's small actions or it's big actions, but it's doing something that moves you forward. So take a moment and think about, what is your committed action going to be? What is the step that you are going to take, big or small? What have you been avoiding or putting off? And if you do that, you will be able to feel better. So someone asks if this is being taped, and my answer is I'm pretty sure yes. So I certainly hope so. And thank you, Kim, and I would love to have you watch it again. So those are the kinds of things that can help. So take a moment and really pause and think, for you right now, this afternoon or this weekend, what is a committed action that you want to take? And again, if you want to, I'd love to have you write it in your comments. But someone said an intention is not a should. Correct. It's not a should, it's a get to. And even those words are really powerful, right? That instead of I have to, it's an I get to, or I'm blessed to. If I'm washing the dishes and I feel like I am blessed to do this, that's a very different feeling than I have to. I am joyful doing this. So intentions are ways of being, not doing. It's how we do. It's the how. All right. So we talked about taking committed action. What is something that you're going to do? Now, one of the things I want to mention is that there's lots of research that shows that when we do things for others, it makes us feel better. So I know, again, in this quarantine time, sometimes it can be hard to even figure out what is the committed action we can do for somebody. I had put a post in Nextdoor, which is an app I don't know if you're familiar with, but and I said I'd be available to help somebody if they couldn't do errands. And so now my friend Robert calls me quite often, and I go and do errands for him, and it's a good feeling to feel like I'm helping somebody else. So I'd recommend, if you're not sure of an action step for yourself, what could you do for others? And Sometimes if you really, if you're sheltered at home, you could write a nice note to somebody, an actual physical letter. Wouldn't that be amazing to get a nice note in the mail from someone saying how much they appreciate you? So why not give that gift to somebody else? When we give the gift of love and appreciation and caring, bring flowers to somebody, or again, do something that's been on your to-do list that will just make you feel better. So that is the fifth of the 5 steps from action to anxiety. So one last time, as a quick review, feel your feelings, shift those feelings, go right into gratitude, set your intention for how you want to be, and take committed action. And I promise you, if you follow these, because I've been practicing it myself to make sure it was a really good process, and it has really helped me, and I deeply, deeply hope that it helps every single one of you. So to end this now, I want to say 2 things. One, if you need further support, if this video gave you a taste of what's possible, but you feel like you're still stuck in your feelings, I offer healing sessions one-on-one. I would love to work with you. And if you mention that you saw me on the Facebook Live, I'll give you an excellent discount. So you get the Facebook Live discount. And if you need further support, or if you know somebody who does, I would absolutely love. I work on Zoom. Easy. I do it all the time. And I have clients all over the country. So I actually was Zooming way before the quarantine. And I would love to support you. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is I just want to send you off with a gift. The gift of love, the gift of breath. So take one more deep breath and really imagine breathing in love, knowing that I am sending each and every one of you so much love, so much joy, and so much appreciation for you being here today. Thank you so much. I hope this has been incredibly helpful to you, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful for all of you for being here.